conversation of OTT, this time with a much more ad-supported focus. And let me just start by introducing the panel, and we're going to talk about the ad sales side of this now. I'll start with Joel, who's the Director of Publisher Development at Premion. I'm going to let each of them tell us a little bit about themselves and the organization that they work for. Let me go next to Ken, who is the VP of Ad Sales at Newsy, and also on the panel, Stitt, Head of Product at SyncBak. SyncBak, excuse me. Thanks. So Joel, let's just start with you. Share a little bit about what you're doing now at Premion and what Premion is doing.
Absolutely. So Premion is a local and regional video ad network. Try to flex. Yeah. There you go. Hello?
Testing? There we go.
Yep.
Sorry, everybody. It's a little early. So Premion is a local and regional video ad network. My job is principally to aggregate inventory from national networks so that our local stations, Premion is owned by Tegna, to sell through its local station markets. So OTT advertising is still in its nascent form, particularly in local markets. So to achieve scale, there needs to be some aggregation that goes on there. And so we are a platform by which they can do so, which they can do that.
Great. Ken.
Hey everyone. So Newsy is a division of the EW Scripps Corporation. We are a network brand within the OTT CTV ecosystem. We were a digital native in that respect, went full OTT focus in 2012 and had enough success with it that to kind of realize our full value as a news network, which is what Newsy is. And Newsy is a national news network. We actually launched as a linear cable channel about a year ago. So presently we're in about 40 million homes as a cable network, but our primary business remains and will probably always be as a anti-partisan national news network within the OTT ecosystem.
Great, thank you. And Ron, tell us a little bit about SyncBak and yourself.
So SyncBak is a video streaming, live streaming technology company, industrial grade. We power CBS All Access, and we're the largest cloud aggregator distributor of local broadcasting signals to the MVPD market. I'm actually the head of product for SBTV, which is our new consumer-facing product, iOS, Android, Roku, Fire. And we're creating a platform for the local television industry to connect directly with their local audiences, but collectively, as with Premion, to hopefully create a scale play for local broadcast television. Ray's in the room, great partner of ours as well. We're a partner with Premion and free ad-supported, on track for about 2 billion ad impressions this year.
Great. Well, thanks. Let's explore some of the issues around the consumer space, which is where I started in the conversation today. How are you explaining to your clients who's watching and why they should be buying premium network avails?
Sure. So it's fascinating because when I go into these local markets and explain what OTT is, you do have to go through a whole list of acronyms before you even get to the audience. And then when you do get to the audience, you have to start talking about the content because these advertisers are used to buying on a content basis, and content and audience were equivalent. And now that's not really the case. When you look to buy, let's say, if you're just going after HGTV, the HGTV viewer on a digital platform watching the same content is significantly younger than the HGTV viewer on your traditional cable. And so it takes a lot of education about how you're going after a particular audience and where you need to be able to find them. Because if you are going after singular programming, you're not going to be able to achieve scale because we're just simply not there in the OTT space. So it is a constant conversation with our advertisers about who is their target audience and let us find them for you regardless of content. And that can be a little bit difficult just because of the innate behaviors that broadcast and cable and TV buyers have done for the last several decades. Most of our ad dollars come from cable. Some come out of broadcast, and I think part of it is who we're talking to, but in these local DMAs, people are buying video, they're not necessarily buying digital. And so a digital buyer has a much easier time with the Premion and OTT concept than a broadcast one.
So who are you calling on, the digital buyer or the TV buyer?
So most often it's the video team. I think we heard yesterday somebody on the panel say that agencies have kind of coalesced and said OTT is video, and so it should stay with the TV team. That we were at risk of having to deal with two separate teams, and now, for the most part, we're just working with the TV teams.
And you said you have to start with the education, and so we understand that. Once you've educated them, what are the objections or the barriers that you're facing from these TV teams?
So I would say the lack of familiarity. We have the pleasure, it's quite amazing to go into a local advertiser's office, and you hear the salesperson pitch Premion, and their eyes light up because they've only heard about, let's just say, like one station, NBC, in Phoenix, and you've only been able to sell them NBC content. Then all of a sudden, you get your audience across 15 different networks, including Newsy and SyncBak. And that's incredible, but there's a lot of resistance towards newer brands, and that is incredibly frustrating because the whole idea of OTT is that there's a shift in viewing, but there's also a shift in content. And Newsy's actually been a tremendous partner, and people who are watching Newsy, didn't necessarily shift from CNN. They're finding new audiences, and people are starting to grow up with Newsy and use it as a primary source of their information. So I will say that we still have a lot of blacklists that we have to abide by, and just frankly, new, I call them digital first brands, are usually excluded.
So Newsy, how do you find TV teams open to a new brand, and how do you have to overcome the objections or the education as well?
If this was 2 years ago, that would have been a much more detailed answer that I would have to give you, and a lot more tactical consideration of how to get it done. But my feeling is, your previous question, how have you found it being accepted? What's the difficulty in getting it done? Here's my view on it, which is, listen, the TV buyers, all they have to do is look at the ratings books to understand intuitively things have changed, right? So if you look at primetime ratings for the last 3 years now on the primary buying demo for national television, those 18 to 49, ratings are down 11% year over year over year, 3 years in a row. In a $65 billion business, that's massive destruction. Now, it doesn't mean people are watching less television. It means they're watching less Nielsen television.
Correct.
So the easy pivot in most TV buyers' minds is, I can still recapture those impressions, because whether it's on a local level, and the buyers are trained to look for GRPs, whether it's on the national level, and people are looking for impressions, it's really just eyeballs in the end. And I've also shifted, and just because Nielsen's not measuring it, doesn't mean they're still not available. So when you look at OTT, you've got the primary screen being television, you have all the flexibility of digital in terms of planning, executing, and attribution. It seems like a pretty easy, not easy pivot, but it makes sense that this is where dollars need to follow just to offset the loss of impressions.
And so on this side, are you saying that the buyers are just buying GRPs and eyeballs, that they're not buying demos or targeted audiences? And then how do you define those and prove that you have them?
I think on the, let's call it the TV buyer side, this is a replacement strategy for loss of impressions. That's a necessary thing, because going into the upfront, if you're going to have the same budget, but there's less points available, your prices go And I think marketers have about reached the saturation point of how much of an increase they're going to pay year over year over year, maybe upfront to get less impressions, right? So on the digital side, now we get bias for both the digital side and the TV side. On the digital side, I believe it is a targeted audience-based decision. On the TV buyer side, I really do believe it's a replacement strategy.
And so, even though it's a replacement strategy, how are you able to prove the value of those eyeballs, who they're reaching?
I think broadly, as you pointed out, millennials are driving this migration, which is tremendous value. Because in my particular genre, the news genre, the common sense has always been, well, young people don't watch news. So I have an easier go with it than I think maybe another genre would have. But I can say, look, the median age of Fox News is 69 years old, CNN is 65 years old. My median age of Newsy in OTT is 40. So that dramatically changes the conversation. And I think we're not there yet in terms of how we can really monetize this targeted audience of OTT. There's still not a common currency that allows for it to be purchased across the TV group, digital group, or video investment group, right? So there's definitely a need for that. And I think on the digital side, through our DSP partners, they have technology which allows them to probably be better than even we are at selling that targeted audience. But I think we'll get there. I just think that what we need to do as an OTT ecosystem is make sure that we come up with tools for the media planners, not necessarily the buyers, but planners, to be able to plan for this in a way that doesn't require them to do extra work.
Great, thank you. Ron, talk a little bit about SyncBak and its content as you are defining this new product. And then you mentioned live streaming. So does that mean live streaming of events or live streaming of other linear networks? Everything. So go ahead.
Actual live networks, full live networks, which could be Stitt assets. Absolutely, we want our stations covering live local events. The way our monetization strategy works is we don't need to have a huge audience to turn profit. And so those are great opportunities for local stations to create local events around things that are going on locally. And it's one of the best things you can do for user acquisition too. So it just strikes me listening to all the conversation here and some of the conversations is that there's like a divide. There's a generational divide in terms of the viewers. We talked about the younger viewers. To them, it's not about screens. And I think, so we have this issue with both on the product and the viewer side as well as on the ad side of even trying to forget common currency. We don't even have agreement around definitions of what we're talking about. Like OTT, to some people, I think they're picturing, well, this is a big screen. Well, to us and to younger people, I assure you, OTT, just any kind of streaming is OTT. And I used to believe that viewers I used to say this when I was at Fox, viewers will inevitably gravitate to the largest screen, the best display possible. Absolutely not. Younger users will be sitting in a room with a big screen and they could watch whatever they're watching on either screen. They're watching it on their mobile device. And the other thing is with big screens is, I think there's this belief in the buying community that if it's a big screen, well, they're paying more attention. Well, no, they're not. If they're watching on a big screen, almost always they're actually fooling around on the small screen at the same time. So I just think we're caught in sort of a transitional period here, and we have to think through the terminology we're using and understanding the audience behaviors. But our basic thing is it's the old, and it's such a cliche, but it's like we want our OTT product to be wherever people want to watch, whenever they want to watch, whatever device they want to watch it on. That's what we're trying to do. The sales pieces that will, I don't want to say it will take care of itself. We have a great head of ad sales who's figuring this all out. But we want to tap into whatever demand sources are out there. That means Nielsen measurement for some people. We'll embrace that, but we're going to create a decisioning layer where the most valuable spot, wherever it comes from, the traditional side, the digital side, that's the one that's going to win, and that's the one that's going to get the eyeball. And I think that's the way to maximize yield also.
So therefore, you wouldn't be monetizing the mobile exposure differently than a connected TV device?
Well, we prefer not to. Some buyers make that distinction. I think I don't understand that, but if that's what they want to do, then go along with that. I'm not going to say no to anybody just because that was a good buying criteria. But I'm just thinking. I think you talked in your fantastic presentation about, and somebody asked a question about where are we in 5 years. And like, is it digital or are we trying to retrofit digital to what we as mostly not, or maybe late millennials or older than millennials, the way we understand things in that paradigm, or are we looking forward to? And in that sense, it's like, what's going to win, traditional methods or digital? Digital is going to win. It's pretty clear.
You tapped into my last question and asked, but I'll continue on that thought. So where do you see SyncBak 3 years from now? And what role are you playing?
Well, we're trying to create a platform for local television stations to stand up their OTT channels and products. We've built the technology for our core business, so we own our entire technology stack. Our costs of doing this are extremely low, therefore we can make it really easy for local television to get into OTT in a big way. And we're trying to create a massive scale play, because part of our theory is that no individual television station, no matter how well they execute independently on OTT, can really make much of a ripple when you're up against the giants. But local television, the local television industry, if we figure out a collective way to make a splash in OTT, we can make a pretty big splash. We have tons of viewers, we have tremendous cross-promotional potential capabilities. We put this all together, and OTT, local is going to be significant. And it's right now, it's not. Right now, local is sort of out of the picture when it comes to OTT, so we're trying to fix that.
I think that plays into Premion. Where do you see 3 years from now your ad network and your reach and where the buying community is embracing you?
So I'm excited just moving forward, because when I talk to advertisers, when we talk about OTT, you mentioned this, we said, hey, what was your favorite show that you're streaming today? And 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be on Amazon or Netflix. And that may continue for quite some time, but when you look at the top 10 streaming services in the US, about 5 of them have advertising. Hulu does absolutely have advertising, but about 50% of that probably is the ad-free now. So then you have to go down further, and the top streaming service with advertising is actually MLB TV, which is just completely underrated. So as we hit that ceiling of cost, there's going to be more ad-supported additions. And that's when we can get really rich with aggregation, because there are still parts of the OTT viewership that are inaccessible. And so at Premion, we're consistently thinking about which partners get us access to users that are just putting content on OTT. And the majority of the advertising in OTT is on virtual MVPDs. The average virtual MVPD consumer consumes roughly 60 hours a month. So that is their principal means of television consumption. So while standalone channels are powerful, there are these enclaves that you need access to. And getting access to them is not necessarily as easy as you would think. YouTube TV is going to go it alone. They're not going to use an ad network. They're very much on the model that someone can come to them. Google has an army of sellers that they don't need any assistance there. But for people like Sling, where Sling does not have that scale and force, even an AT&T DirecTV now doesn't have that sales force. There are opportunities for us to partner with those guys as well as the content owners themselves. So we have a very strong relationship with Discovery and Fox, and it's tremendous when Fox can take our advertisers' campaigns into Amazon, because there's this power in the Thursday Night Football. When they can take us into all of the virtual MVPs, that saves us a lot of time and effort. So yes, I'm just so excited. I think the local markets are still very far behind the national markets in terms of shifting their ad dollars, and again, kind of shifting them to players like Pluto. I think that when I look at the top headlines of 2019 for OTT, it has to be probably the NBC announcement, and then the Pluto acquisition for $340 million by Viacom. I think that might be a little bit of a pricey tag, but I'm very excited about what it means for our industry, because Viacom is thinking ahead and saying, Pluto and Zumo and other aggregators are a means of distribution. I mean, it's an incredible validation of ad-supported OTT, and I think that investment that Viacom owners have will only come to fruition probably in 3 to 5 years. So.
Yeah, I think you mentioned NBC. For those of you who don't know, they've announced their streaming service will be fully ad-supported, AVOD. Various reasons for that, obviously. Their own linear networks are all ad-supported. They don't want to cannibalize themselves, Comcast being their owner. And I think looking at the consumer trends and really seeing where folks are going. So Ken, NBC being a news leader, and I assume on your local broadcast side, many of them are NBC affiliates, do you welcome that entry of another AVOD player at that scale? And also from a news competitive standpoint, how does this help the environment as a whole?
We absolutely welcome it. I mean, I think our feeling is like, where you guys been? This has been an obvious place to be for several years now, if you just, as you said, follow the consumer. So the fact that NBC and now Viacom are making a meaningful move in here is, I think they're a year late, but now they're here. So look, it's not Newsy's job or anyone's job really to pick winners in this space.
Okay.
What we do is we bet on everybody on the consumer side. So we're on Pluto, we're on Zumo, we're on the Roku channel, and we're on Hulu. We're also on Amazon, we're on everything, because we've been around since 2012. One of the advantages of being a first mover is our distribution is really robust. And we don't really have a position right now on where the industry should go, but I think that Viacom making their bet, NBC coming in, validates that this is a generational shift. It will not replace linear television, it will augment it, or maybe it becomes a way to serve it through the cloud, but the history of Scripps, it started out as a newspaper company, then became a radio company, then became a television station company, then became a cable company. Now we're betting heavily on two things, podcasting through our company, Stitcher, and over the top. And what we're kind of seeing is the whole issue that is going to dominate the planning side of the buy side going forward for the next few years is reach. How do we achieve reach? You used to be able to achieve reach very easily on broadcast television, supplementing that with cable. But people are becoming unreachable, at least for part of their day life. And we're investing in reaching the unreachables, whether it's podcasting, which is kind of audio over the top. We have a division called the Cates Networks, which are NC and DigiNets, again, reaching cable people who are cut the cord, shade the cord through them, and OTT.
I still get on the idea that it's not our job to pick winners, which I completely agree with, but doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a position in POV. I've been around in digital for a long time, right, pretty much back to the very beginning, even before there was a web. And I was involved in standing up early websites and the whole display advertising. If you look at how that market evolved, it didn't evolve in a very good way, and we were left with all these legacy issues even now of viewability and click fraud and all this kind of stuff. And I believe that was partly because the media side of it, the supply side, was not actively engaged enough early on, and sort of just the drive costs down, lowest common denominator philosophy was what took over, aided and abetted by a gigantic cottage industry of middlemen that sprang up and by some accounts, siphoning off 50% more of the dollars. I mean, I think this is the publishers, the supply side, the content owners. We have to be more involved and more engaged in how this OTT, which I think for me is just streaming, as video becomes the big thing. We need to be more engaged in helping shape how that evolves. And part of that is just, I think, letting machine intelligence figure out where the value lies instead of retrofitting it.
Thanks. I have one last question, and then I'm going to throw it to you guys. I know you don't want to pick winners, but a prediction: will Netflix go into the ad-supported business?
Yes.
Yes, and probably a lot sooner than a lot of people think.
Ken, what do you think? reaching the unreachable.
Yeah, without question they will. I mean, look, it's a pretty good business model to have two revenue streams, and Netflix has that in front of them. Whether it means it's traditional commercial ties or sponsorship models, whatever it might be, for them to continue to show the growth, at least domestically, they need to. I think they'll be in them.
They can't keep growing on the program either.
Yeah.
Not $100.
Yeah, but I also think, look, you know, this is the year, right? I'm not saying Netflix does it this year, but I kind of equate this to if 2012 was 1982 in terms of ad-supported cable, people were investing in their businesses at that time from a network perspective without a lot of return, losing money, but spending money on marketing and on distribution on a premium program. By 1987, when enough of the country was wired that marketers had to start to follow that, that began a 15-year run of 20% organic growth year over year over year, which established kind of the whole ecosystem in the media, television world that we see today, right? This is 2019 is 1987 because there's enough critical mass now in terms of the OTT ecosystem that marketers don't have a choice but to follow the consumer. So when I say that NBC and Viacom were a year late, they're a year late. We've invested wholly in this business, and we're seeing the benefits of it now, and I think that we'll see that benefit for a long time to come.
And does the disruption of Netflix coming into the market help AVOD, help Premion, or hurt because of how much disruption it'll create?
I think that it will define things and it will help things because there's so many different standards about the platform, and Netflix plays by its own rules and sets table stakes. So they will be the ones to perhaps create a unified identifier for connected TVs. These foundational elements that we had in the digital ecosystem that allow for dollars to shift quite easily there. I think we need a Netflix and Amazon to do that.